Hello, my friends. If you want a recipe for banana nut bread that's absolutely delicious, super easy, and makes 2 loaves, watch along while I make my recipe. Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Today I'm going to share one of my favorite nut bread recipes. It's banana nut bread. This is an oldie but a goodie. It's, in my opinion, one of the best banana nut breads you can make. And the great thing about this recipe is that it's not only easy, but it yields double fruit because you're going to end up with 2 loaves. I love having 2 of whatever you make because you can either give one away, take one to someone who needs a treat or a meal, or you can put one in your freezer. If I don't know anyone who needs banana nut bread, I will wrap it really well, freeze it, and pull it out for our small group, or if company comes by. It's wonderful having a nut bread frozen and ready to pull out whenever you need it. And it freezes beautifully if you wrap it well. I just start by spraying my pans, and I'm going to link to everything. The pans, the bowl, I'll link to, with a discount code, to my favorite oil that makes this healthier. These are my pans. These are actually, they're called, oh, there's a name, Pullman pans. They have straight sides, but any loaf pan will do. So I've got 2 of these, and Pullman pans actually have lids that you slide on and off. I always throw my Pullman lids away. I don't know really why they have lids, but there's a reason. But anyway, I love my pans because I love straight-sided bread. I think it looks really pretty on a plate. I'm gonna start by spraying, and you must use a flour spray. Baker's Joy is one, Pam is another. You just need to make sure that it has flour. And if you grab Baker's Joy, it's always gonna have flour. And you wanna spray really well. Now I'm gonna set these aside, but you wanna spray them where there's no part of the pan left that's not sprayed. Otherwise, it might stick. Now we're gonna start with our ingredients. I have my favorite beautiful batter bowl. It's easy to mix and then pour from this. So now we're going to start with our ingredients. I'm going to start with my wet ingredients, and banana is considered a wet ingredient of sorts. This recipe calls for 3 very ripe bananas, and if your bananas are small, you can do 4. These are medium, and what I've found is you just use your judgment, because some of these bananas are going to have bruises, so I'm going to not probably use one of any of these. I'm going to have to sort of piece them together. So let's see how many of them are ripe but not rotten. Oh, we have a great one here. So we have 1, and see, these are pretty ripe. I like to make sure they're pretty speckled. Okay, now see that one? I'm gonna look for another one. If I have to, I'll cut that one up. Okay guys, this one's perfect. Starting to get brown, but it's not. So we've got 2, and I think this one's gonna have a bruise. Yeah, that one has a bruise. That's why if you're making banana nut bread, make sure that you've got more bananas than what your recipe calls for, because you're gonna have some you have to toss. Okay, that one is perfect. So we have 3 very ripe bananas, and these others. Now I'm going to mash these up. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna mash them up. I'm gonna put them here because I'm gonna mix them up. I start by mixing up my wet ingredients with the bananas. So there's our bananas. I buy paper bowls of all sizes, not really to eat out of. I mean, we'll eat cereal out of them, but I hate washing bowls and drying them and putting them away, or unloading bowls from the dishwasher. So I keep them to put all of my ingredients and toss them after baking or cooking, and the cleanup is minimal. I love it. And this just had bananas in it, so I'm gonna set this aside and eat some cereal in it later. Here's another wet ingredient. We have eggs. So I have 4 eggs. It's always good when you're making a bread, something that you're gonna be mixing and that you wanna be careful not to over mix. You want to make sure that you mix the wet ingredients first, especially if you've got eggs. Otherwise, if you just mix up dry ingredients and then throw wet ingredients on top, it's a little harder to get the wet ingredients smooth and to break up all the eggs. And this has 4 eggs, so that's why I'm starting with that. And then the only other wet ingredient, the oil. And this is what I love about my favorite, most oft used oil, Costa. This is a powerhouse of antioxidants. It is the best extra virgin olive oil. It comes from Greece. I actually had Katina Manaus. I may not be pronouncing her last name correctly, but Katina. She was on my podcast and she shared about her family's vineyards in Greece. She shared all about the process that they use to refine their oils, and it's just amazing. This particular one, they're everyday extra virgin, as opposed to the white bottle, the original. This one you can use in place of canola, avocado, vegetable oil. This is all purpose and it's very mild, and I use it to make cakes, breads, everything, and it feels so good to know you are adding all of these antioxidants that your family will be benefiting from, even in something like cake or bread. So I want y'all to look at this. It feels so much better than pouring canola oil in there, inflammatory oils. I'm gonna get my Braun mixer, and I'm just going to mix this enough to break up the eggs and banana. Then we're going to finish with our dry ingredients. Could also be using an immersion blender, which, as I'm thinking about this, that would have been just as easy. But this mixer is super easy. I don't like big chunks of bananas, so I mix this pretty well. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside, and now I'm going to add the dry ingredients. We have our flour, that's 3 cups of carefully measured and leveled flour. Then we have our sugar and 1 teaspoon each of baking soda and salt. And the flour is plain, that's why you're adding the baking soda and salt, because it's not self-rising. I forgot how much batter. I probably could have gotten a bigger bowl, but I love this bowl and it's gonna be fine. It's just full. Oh, I forgot to add this when I added my wet ingredients. This is about a teaspoon. Clear vanilla. I thought, ooh, am I putting almond extract? Clear vanilla. You don't have to use clear, that's just what I had. The rule of thumb, you don't want to over mix. It can make your bread tough. Mix until all of the flour is no longer visible. You don't see the white powder. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Okay. This is optional, not for me, because I would never make this without nuts. If you're allergic to nuts, you can, but these are the walnuts. You can use pecans, but walnuts to me are the best, and they are loaded with even more healthy antioxidants, healthy fats, in addition to the olive oil. And I barely mix this. I just want to get them dispersed. So I'm really doing this like it's an immersion blender. You can also use your KitchenAid. I love my KitchenAid, but for mixing breads, I like to do this because I have more control, and the bowl is easier to just maneuver. If I want to see if I have any powder, any flour at the bottom, it's easier to do it than the mixers because you have to lower the bowls. Okay, so here we go. Now we're just gonna pour it into the pans. Oh, it smells so good, y'all. Okay. I'm just judging when I have half. Now I've got to get the spatula and scrape. Okay, I think it's fairly even, y'all. I'm very messy when I cook. I think I did a very good job. I always sort of do this, tap the pans on the countertop to get out any air bubbles, and all of this that got on the sides, I'm gonna wipe that off because you don't want it to burn and it'll start smelling up your kitchen if you have burned like debris or burned batter. Okay. So here we are. The oven has been preheating at 350, so I'm putting these in the oven, and I will come back after they're baked to show you the final result. I have made this banana nut bread. I've had it tested, and I've never had this happen, but it developed these huge cracks on top, and it's raw in the middle. The edges are perfect. So there are 2 main reasons why a nut bread or some type of bread would be raw in the middle and perfectly done on the outside. The most likely is that your oven is too high. My oven has been running a little hot because I've had this happen with some other things that I've always made and they've turned out great, and now I'm having this issue. So I'm going to start turning my oven down to 325 and see if that helps. Other instances is you might have too much liquid liquid. The only liquid that was in this was the oil. So that is probably not the culprit. Another thing you can do to avoid this, when you have things in smaller pans, it takes less time for them to cook all the way through. So I am going to think about doing a lot of this in my mini loaf pans, and I would have 6 to 8 loaves instead of 2 larger ones. That's another solution. But anyway, the bread is really great. Just follow these tips and hopefully yours will turn out great. Leave comments if you have any, and until next time, be blessed and stay savvy.